everybody? Welcome to Healing with Chaos. I'm your host, Jonte, and this is
Janika.
Janae.
and we're the Reynolds Sisters. Today we're talking being single in your 30s. This has been a trending topic as of recent. A lot of women and men feel that they are outcasted by their peers if they're not married by a certain age, which is 30. I'm here to tell you, all three of us are single in our 30s. I offer you our advice through our own personal experiences. So ladies, let's talk.
Let's talk.
First topic we're going to talk about is beating the negative stigma around being single in your 30s and finding happiness and being truly happy while single. Do you feel like you're happy while you're single?
I believe happiness starts from within. I believe that at times it can be confusing because most people believe in order for them to be fulfilled or find happiness that they need someone else to bring that into them. I think in order to get into a successful relationship and maintain a successful relationship, you have to find happiness within yourself. So yes, I'm happy. Even if it's just being thankful for the little things. I try to find happiness through everything. I can find a penny when I'm walking into the store. Now I'll be thankful for that.
How about you, Janae?
I think the most important part for me is to define happiness. Happiness can be self-happiness. Happiness can be career success. Happiness can be self-reflection and moving into religious beliefs, finding yourself spiritually.
Be just now really setting the tone for your career and stepping into your career and finding your own purpose. It really just all depends on the mindset of a person. For me, battling against all those negative stereotypes that we have already placed inside of our community, and as Janika said, going on a spiritual journey of self-love towards myself and finding out that I am complete just by myself without a significant other. So that's definitely one of the things that we want to give advice to our community, is that you have to first be whole within self before finding someone that will actually love you. So if you're a person that can't be without somebody, you're probably going to be dating for the rest of your life. You literally have to learn to love yourself.
Too, with not being happy within yourself, oftentimes with the saying, if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. So I think a lot of times when people aren't happy within themselves, they settle for the first thing that they see. The thing too, with growing old and obtaining age, you obtain wisdom. So whether as it's certain things that you might have failed for while you were younger, myself speaking for personal experience, where certain things that made me happy within relationships as I got older, those things changed. Foundation within yourself, where you actually know what you want. You set boundaries, what you won't take. What does this person have to have? How does this person have to treat you? That's the key to maintaining great relationships and building relationships. And then too, just building happiness within yourself, whether it's within yourself, friendships, relationships, any type of situationship in life.
Happiness and marriage. Quickly, and I want to move towards career satisfaction. How does that play into you guys' life in your 30s? Have women in their 30s who have kids that are single mothers, and then you have women who are married with kids in their 30s, but then you have completely single women in their 30s, like myself, without kids or not being married. How do you think that the dichotomy of those three different life paths for women affects the way that they see the world?
Single mother. So for a person like me, it changes my entire mindset completely. I went from looking for someone who was just looking to start a family to someone who's more family oriented. I think that life experiences and as you said, the things that you have going on in your own personal life, it does affect how you date and who you should date. Now, as I said, as a single mother, I prefer now to date a man that's more family oriented. That's not to say that all single parents date that way. So you just have to find out what's best for you.
Goes back to finding yourself. That's the main point. You have to find yourself. Once you find yourself, you're easily going to find everything else because you know where to look, because you have established yourself. So no matter your career, none of that matters once you find out who you are.
What's your next step after you find who you are?
The next steps after you find who you are is you know where to start looking. You find out who you are, you know, okay, I'm not going to go to this place and think that I'm going to get a substantial type of person because I know what this place means. I know how to carry myself. About myself, I know if I carry myself a certain way, people might interpret or their perception of me might be a different type of way. You learn how to talk, you become more confident. And I don't care what nobody say. When you confident, people, it's like perfume.
They can feel it.
Like that good perfume, like that Chanel, Mademoiselle. Like people can tell when you confident.
You know where to put your boundaries. You know where to set them up in. When you love yourself, you actually go into a journey of getting to know yourself, where you have to relearn everything you've learned did in life. Learn how to forgive yourself. And it does open up a mindset of where you can be gracious and open with others, but it also creates a sense of awareness of what you can and cannot deal with. So it's just, in my opinion, just giving yourself the grace to date, learn, and grow.
A great point when you said boundaries, because a lot of people, when they think of boundaries, they think of barricades. There's a difference between having boundaries and having healthy boundaries, because if you have too many boundaries, you can't let who needs to come in. Get into right now is how do you set healthy boundaries, and how do you know when your boundaries are kind of like, I'm keeping the right people out?
Well, I think too, a healthy point from what she just said that kind of ties into what you just said is forgiveness. When you learn to forgive yourself for any mistakes you made in the past, you're able to establish healthy boundaries for yourself. I know most people, or it might be situations where you made a mistake in the past, and you might think because of that mistake you don't deserve somebody that's worthy, and somebody that treats you right. A mistake in the past. So I think establishing healthy boundaries comes from forgiveness within yourself. It comes from you finding yourself. You will know what type of boundaries to establish once you find yourself. I think all of those things tie into each other. Now, I believe with the extreme boundaries, I believe at times when you have these unrealistic boundaries or these in the star boundaries, you can miss out on somebody who's good for you, somebody who will treat you right, somebody who can just be your Prince Charming, be everything. So I believe it's healthy to establish good boundaries, but also have that open-minded attitude as well, where you're able to still kind of consider other things too without losing yourself.
So far is happiness, boundaries, and self-exploration, right?
To what Janika was saying, for me, knowing how to set healthy boundaries, as she said, it starts with knowing yourself. What I've learned is you can put more expectations on a person that you don't put on yourself. The thing is, whatever you're expecting in that significant other, you should already be able to do for yourself. And that's one of the things that I have grown to learn. Now I have pretty much set that as a boundary, because I feel like sometimes we have relationships where it's a lot more give than it is reciprocation. 80-20, 70-30, whether it should be 100%, 100%, or 50-50. So definitely knowing how to set those healthy boundaries of where you're not putting expectations on somebody that you wouldn't put on yourself.
Oh my God, you said 50-50.
How much time we got? Like,
talk about that on the next podcast. Let us know down below.
yes.
You just talking about being single in our 30s and addressing the stigma around it being something wrong with a person who's not married by the age of 30. Say that they're not interested in marriage. Does that make something wrong with them?
Just going back to what we spoke about, all of it is education. It just varies to me within.
A lot of it is self-exploration. It's a lot of education, but it's also emotion. You're in a relationship with someone, you also have a overwhelming feeling of love, sometimes hate, sometimes frustration, and sometimes jealousy. Learning how to manage those emotions, it's better said than done. Explore yourself. you can set your boundaries, but you also can still feel emotions in a strong way. And managing those emotions in a healthy relationship is hard.
Back to what you said when you asked if we think that something is wrong with us because we're not married. So the short answer now from today's date, from me being 32, no. Back when I was in my 20s, the answer would be yes. Sometimes, myself included, getting out of a relationship, especially a relationship that you was invested in, a relationship that you knew you gave your all in, and it didn't feel like you wasn't enough. You was treated like you weren't enough. You did your best. So it leaves lingering thoughts in your mind like, okay, am I not enough? Did I not do this right? Could I be more spontaneous? Could I do this more? Could I dress a certain type of way? Would he have stayed? Would he have not cheated? Would he have done this? That ties back to you have to find yourself, because you answer these questions for yourself. Don't ever look for somebody to answer a question that you want to know for yourself. That self-confidence comes in.
We're going deep.
Yeah, it's the truth. I mean, self included. Somebody that's been in a relationship before where they were truly in love and they got hurt.
Yeah.
The human in us, the first thing that pops in our head, what's wrong with me? Did I do wrong?
Yeah.
If I had did this, then this wouldn't have happened. If I would have only did this, then this could have changed. But in the reality, whatever's gonna happen, it's gonna happen, baby.
As people who are in the psychology field, I want to go back to what you said when you said everyone's natural reaction is, what's wrong with me? I want to hear both of y'all opinion about why is that the most natural human response? Why don't we just say, F you, what you did, and move on?
So anytime we make mistakes, any decent human being will immediately say, hey, what could I have done better? What was wrong with me in that situation? So it even plays down into your relationship. I mean, if you love a person, if you care about a person, if you're a person that's of humanity and of dignity, you're going to always go back and say, hey, what could I have done differently? When in reality, it could have been a situation of where it may have been them. And the thing that is different is you shouldn't have dated them.
Yeah. I believe the reason why that's most people or a high majority of people's first thought is because everybody wants to be accepted. So when you get rejected or you have somebody do you wrong, I mean, that's the first thing that comes to mind, like, what did I do? And then when you think about it, it's kind of just like generational. Like, that's how you were raised, even from a baby. Like, when you're a baby, you learn how to cry. You know, crying, you'll get a bottle if you cry. Like, you learn different things and you kind of stick to things. Like, most people might not understand that a relationship it's almost like an educational course too. Dive straight into a relationship and expect not to make mistakes. You have to learn within a relationship too. It takes work.
Right back around to what I was saying about emotions being a very real part of the relationship experience, and then being in your 30s. Obviously, like you said, in your 20s, you probably thought, I'm young, I got plenty of time. Then you get in your 30s and you're here, your whole brain, your whole life path has changed. The way you see things has changed. You probably have a lot more responsibility. So the way you date, like you said, and what you look for in a person has changed. Mm-hmm. So how do we, in our 30s, you know how they say, you should be more mature by now. How do we in our 30s, there's certain expectations of how we should respond to cheating from men. Should we expect men to have kids? Should we expect anything from a man? Because we're in our 30s and we could just get what we can get.
So you want to talk red flags?
Red flags!
Yeah. That's our next time. We're talking red flags. What's deal breakers? What's not deal breakers? What are signs? What are not considered signs? What's a sign for you, Janae, that at the age of 30, would you say it's just an automatic deal breaker at this point?
You know, I always say, Jonte, that the top of my list is common sense. I always say that. People always think that I'm playing. Finding someone in your 30s who has general common sense. And by common sense, I mean, if I'm asking you a question about life, about me, if you see I'm upset, common sense would be to ask me what's wrong instead of just to assume that you just need to distance yourself and that is you. So I think the most important part about common sense is to know that there is a real human experience and happening outside of the relationship that may affect the relationship. In response to that, it does tell a lot about what you want in a person, and that's a lot of the times where cheating comes into play, because once you go through an experience in life and your attitude changes and things happen and you kind of pull away, your partner may feel like, hey, you're pulling away from me, or she may be going astray, when all in actuality it's just more stress on you at work. So then your partner begins to go astray and do what they do. And that's where your maturity level in your 30s comes into play.
What about you, Janika?
Are we talking about red flags in a relationship or before you get there with somebody? Like if you're just like walking down the street and be like, oh,
we talk about your biggest red flag.
Yeah, your biggest red flag, just
the one that just is no go.
Yeah, you can say dating or once you start dating, but it would be probably best to talk about the ones before dating.
Oh, come on, y'all. Y'all gonna have to get a list and play it.
She not playing.
Flag, it's kind of like at the top, like the ding, ding, ding. It's just disrespect. To me, it doesn't take anything to know how to talk to somebody. Mm-hmm. And that's for relationship, the red flag, friendships, situationships, workships, anything. Everybody deserves to be respected, treated with respect. You can say anything. It's just how you say it. Say, I'm not going to cuss her. But I can say, beep, go sit down. I can say, beep, go sit down. Like how you say things. So I think that's my top red flag. Like knowing how to talk to me. And then too, I guess getting deep in relationships. Or getting to know somebody where I'm actually in a relationship. Another red flag is as I'm getting to know somebody, seeing if our paths align, like if they intertwine. Because if it's somebody that you want to build a future with, I can't be over here up in Mars and you just all the way wherever you at. Like intertwine some type of way. Like what I want in life has to intertwine with what you want in life. I can't say that, okay, I want to have children, I want to get married, and you over here saying, I don't never want to get married, and I can't stand children. Like,
alignment.
Ding, ding. It's a red flag, too. Not going to work. So it's no point in me being invested and wasting my time in a relationship, even you wasting your time in a relationship, if we don't want the same thing in life. And that goes back to another thing that could be a cause in relationships too, is people thinking that they can change somebody to make them want what they want.
That's the rumors.
I'm not trying to change nobody, baby. I'm gonna let you do you, and if you want to change, you have changed.
I'll tell you, what is your biggest red flag?
Well, for me, biggest red flag, I would say it was those two. But for me, be honest, I'm nobody to lie to, especially if you just met me. Seriously, I can't tell you how many dates I've been on and gotten to know a guy, and his entire life was literally a lie.
Telling you a dream,
I mean,
you ain't even going to
if
sleep.
you know that you are who you say you are, then you shouldn't be out here lying about who you are, because you're going to eventually be found out. So for me, my biggest red flag is a liar. Somebody that just can't be honest, especially if you're just now meeting somebody who knows absolutely nothing about you. It shows, really, to me, your character. So the thing is, if you start off a liar, you're going to continue to lie. So that's probably my biggest red flag when it comes to dating, a person that just can't be honest about who they are as a person.
Another question. When is it okay to lie in a relationship.
Never.
Wow.
I'm going to say never, because the thing is, if you're in an actual healthy relationship, the person that you're with should be like your best friend. Able to tell them any and everything, because one, they're your best friend.
So if you get dressed up and you just got on your best attire, you went and got your hair done, and you just think you got this high confidence, your mate sees that you're smiling and happy, and you be like, oh babe, you like my new dress, you like my hair? And in his head, he's like, oh God, no. Like, you want him to tell you that? Confidence to just be like,
Well, the thing
okay,
is,
babe, you look nice.
What I was gonna say too, there in a relationship, you have to think about it. When we say, I'm never gonna lie in a relationship, you lying. Because you have something that's called a lie, and then there's little white lies.
but she said, when is it okay to tell one? Never.
Well,
Well, in a perfect word.
the thing is,
What about if you cheated?
That's
Oh,
what
yeah.
we call a big lie.
Yeah, you tell me, because stuff like that, see, that goes back to selling somebody a dream and they ain't even going to sleep. Don't lie to me about cheating, because I'm going to find it out. Don't sit here. Give me the opportunity to choose what I want to do.
Yeah.
Don't try and make me be forced off a lie. You give me the option. Even when you mess up, give me the option to choose if I want to stay or if I want to leave.
Holding you hostage.
Yeah, with his lies. He just got me wrapped all up. And I'm just sitting there all pretty. I ain't even trying to break loose. I'm like a deer in the headlights. What's going on? I'm like, girl, I'm wrapped up.
But you make a good point about that, because you know, when we go into, and when we're in love, we have on our rose-colored glasses. This person can do no wrong.
Right.
Trust me. I've been there. And the thing is, we need to go into discernment and how that plays a key role in relationships. Because 9 times out of 10, like I said before, there are white lies in a relationship. However, white lies do lead to big lies. When you're in a relationship, you're going to constantly see what you can get away with and what you cannot get away with.
Right.
We all find our ticks when we're learning people.
That's all the time we have this week. Visit our blog, takecorner.org, for more helpful tips to help you keep in touch with your healing journey. Until next time, remember, there's power in chaos.